Sitting on the floor in front of the bottom portion of my shelves really brings me back to the beginning stages of my booktube channel. Hi, hey, I'm Morgan, and today I am just gonna sit down with you guys and do a super chatty, chill unhaul video. I actually reorganized the entirety of my bookshelves today, and while I was going about rearranging my shelves, I was looking at all of the books and realizing that some of these books I just didn't plan on rereading or even like picking up. I just had lost interest in them. Maybe I bought them on book outlets to get free shipping, and I looked at them, I just didn't feel that same excitement that I had when I had purchased them. So I have some books set aside here that I'm going to be getting rid of. I have a friend that wants to look through them and see if there's anything that she wants, and then I'm also planning on donating them to the library if possible, but if not, I will probably just take them to some secondhand bookstores or half-price books and sell them for $2. I'm going to talk about these books. I didn't put makeup on. So I have 28 books that I'm going to be getting rid of, so I kind of am predicting that this is going to be a longer video. So grab a snack. It's you. Grab yourself. Get it? Because you a whole ass snack. Or grab some like tea or coffee if you want to hang out and watch this video. I like unhauls. I just don't like super high energy like unhauls because I find those a lot. I wanted to do an unhaul video that I would want to watch. The first one I'm going to be getting rid of is this Penguin Classics edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. I had this idea that I was going to collect every book in these editions, but as time has gone on, I have not purchased another book in this edition type. I usually find editions that I like way more than these, and I already have an edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and it's not one of those books where I feel as though I have to buy every edition. Some of my favorite books of all time I will buy multiple editions of, like The Wonderful Wizard of Oz or Peter Pan or Harry Potter. I'm all for buying as many editions of your favorite book as you want, but I don't feel that way about Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I think that one copy is enough. My other copy that I have of this I find way more aesthetically pleasing than this one, so I'm getting rid of it. Poor Bettina Goldstein. No. Don't you backtalk me. Don't you? You're very cute. And one of your eyes is blue and one of your eyes is brown. But that doesn't mean that you get to talk to me badly. The second book that I am getting rid of is a graphic novel, and it is Harley Quinn Hot in the City. This was by Amanda Conner with Jim Palmiotti, Chad Hardin, Stephanie Rue, Alex Sinclair, and Paul Mounts. This is the first volume in Harley Quinn's New 52 run. I read this years ago. I think at this point like 3 or 4 years ago, and I just have no interest in rereading it or collecting the rest of this run. I am just not all that intrigued in Harley's story anymore. Just the way that they perceive Harley and just the way that she's drawn always pisses me off. The next book that I'm getting rid of is New World Rising. This is by Jennifer Wilson. I received this in an owl crate like a year ago, and I wasn't intrigued then when I got it in the owl crate, and I'm not interested in it now. I just don't think that YA dystopian is really my jam anymore. I just don't see myself really reading any more dystopians for a while. Most of the young adult dystopians that I read are all the same premise, and they're all very similar. Scythe is so different from everything else, but everything else is just so bleh. That's just how I'm left feeling after I read dystopian. It's just like a meh. You know when you eat something really heavy and it's fine in the moment, but then after you finish it you just feel so bogged down and like, why did I do that to myself? That's how I feel about dystopian. So this is a no for me. The next book that I'm parting with is The Sandcastle Empire. This is by Kayla Olson. This came in the same owl crate as this one. This was a really disappointing owl crate for me because I don't like dystopian, and like, that's okay. I've learned that dystopian is one of my least favorite genres, and because I just haven't read dystopian that's like done well and isn't a regurgitation of the Hunger Games or something else, and I don't remember what either of these books are about. Like, I read the synopsis during the Owl Crate unboxing, and I'm pretty sure I looked thoroughly unimpressed, but I was like trying to play it up that I was super into the idea of these books, and I just fucking wasn't, and I'm just not now. Here's the tea. It's dystopian, and it's like a survival story, and it's just not for me. I like high fantasy, I like science fiction, I like contemporary and horror. I don't like dystopian. I like everything but dystopian. And that's fine. The next one that I have here is Zombies vs. Unicorns, and this is an anthology edited by Holly Black and Justine Larbelestier. Neither of those are right, probably. This is an anthology about zombies and unicorns, and I read like the first 3 or 4 of the short stories in this like a couple years ago. I DNF'd it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick it back up, and I never did. I'm pretty sure this was one of the first books that I picked up because of BookTube back when Priscilla from The Readables was like that bitch, and she talked about this book, and I thought the cover was cool. Like, the little end papers are cute, and like, I really like Holly Black, and I was really hoping for this to be something great, and it just wasn't, like, from what I read of it, and I just don't plan on picking it back up ever again, and that's fine. This one I feel, like, really bad about, but I just know that I'm never going to read it, and I would much rather it be in the hands of someone who will, and that's The Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earl. I'm pretty sure this is, like, all of Esther's blog posts, and I could very easily, like, read this because it is in that, like, format, like, it's like a diary almost. But I also feel very weird about this book being published. Like, I acknowledge the hell out of Esther and how great she was, and the abundance of optimism that she continued to have, and how she influenced John Green the way that she did, and how she was just such a beautiful person. And I think that when she passed, it hit really hard in the nerd fighter community especially. And I bought this book when I found out that it was like a thing. Like, John Green talked about it in the video where he talked about her passing away, and I bawled my eyes out. I always bawl my eyes out when I think about Esther. But I don't know if I'll be able to read this and be in a good mindset going into it. And I know that that's not what Esther would want. Like, she would want people to read this with the same light of love and positivity and optimism that she had. And being fully honest with myself, like, this book would be really hard for me to read. And I would much rather it go to someone who can read it and still feel that same amount of light and joy while reading it that Esther had. I also feel a little weird about this because would Esther really have wanted her journals to be published and be on that public of a scale, like, if she hadn't passed? And I don't know. I'm just not sure. Like, that's also something is I'm not quite sure of the intentions of this book, and that alone makes it also hard to read because I feel as though her parents are almost capitalizing on her death and what her death meant to the nerd fighter community and what it meant to John Green, and that also makes me feel a little lousy. But I could be wrong. That could just be me, but I'm parting with this book. I feel bad about it because I don't want it to be misconstrued of like, wow, Morgan hates Esther Earl, because like, I don't. I just don't. I respect her and I think that she's great, and I think that this book should be in the hands of someone who will like cherish it forever. I could do a whole video about the Esther Earl thing. Like, I really could. I won't, but I could. The next book that I'm going to be getting rid of is Grasshopper Jungle. This is by Andrew Smith. I bought this because the premise sounded fucking weird, and there was a time where I was buying a lot of like really weird books because I was going to do drunk discussions on them, but this is one that I don't want to read. An army of horny, hungry, 6-foot-tall praying mantises that only want to do 2 things: eat and fuck, just like me. I hope my mom doesn't watch this video. I also have heard a lot of problematic things about Andrew Smith's writing, and I don't know what this one will contain. I haven't read any reviews of it, but I just don't have any interest in reading it anymore. This cover is also just atrocious. Bold, bizarre, and beautiful. That was my senior superlative. How do you accidentally unleash an army of 6-foot-tall praying mantises? Also, that's fucking terrifying. My nipple itches! I can't keep that in, but that's really funny. I mean, I could. You didn't see my nipple. Am I going to? Maybe. I just don't want it anymore. But I really need to keep saying, like, the next book I'm getting rid of. Like, you know I'm getting rid of all these books. That's why this is an unhaul video. The next one is Absolutely Maybe, and this is by Lisa Yee. Look at this, like, Hayley Williams knot. It's like they wanted a girl that looked just barely enough like Hayley Williams to, like, far away be like, is that a book about Paramore? It's not. I got this at the beginning of last year on Book Outlet. It was like $2 on Book Outlet. It's really dinged up. That's probably why it was $2. And I think I was just barely at the threshold to qualify for free shipping. It was to the point where after tax it looked like I could qualify, but you have to qualify before tax. So I selected this book. I thought it sounded kind of interesting, and then I saw that it was published in like 2009. And is any 2009 young adult contemporary good? It's debatable. I got this for free shipping. I thought the premise sounded like kind of decent, and then the more that I look at it, the more I'm like, I'm never gonna fucking read that. So I'd rather this be in the hands of someone who will read it. And maybe there's someone out there who really loves and appreciates and cherishes 2009 young adult contemporaries about girls moving all the way across the other side of the country, but that's just not me. The next book is 100 Days of Cake. This is by Sherry Goldhagen. I originally bought this because I really like the cover. I think it's cute, and also it has mental illness representation. It has depression rep, but then I've heard through the grapevine that there's a lot of moments where you think that she's falling in love with her psychiatrist or her psychologist. It just seems very love cure-y, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna do that to myself if it is. If this is about a girl that falls in love and doesn't have depression anymore, I'm not gonna fucking read it, and that's what I feel like it is. I'm not sure if this is Own Voices depression rep, and I don't want it to be something love cure-y. I'm not gonna read a love cure novel. I was so interested in it, like, when I first saw it, and I found out it was depression rep, and then I got excited, and then I bought it on Book Outlet, and then I found out that it's like love cure-y, and that makes me sad. So there is a stream of books that I'm going to file under Morgan was really obsessed with YouTuber books for a while, and now she doesn't want any of them. The first one is You Deserve a Drink by Mamrie Hart. I actually really loved this book, and I loved her second book, I've Got This Round. I read it last year. I listened to the audiobook, and it was fucking phenomenal. I just don't think I'm ever gonna reread this, and if I do reread it, I'll be listening to the audiobook, because hearing everything in Mamrie's voice and hearing her laugh at her own jokes was I love Mamrie. I think Mamrie's phenomenal, and her books are fun, and she's fun. But I want someone else to have as much fun as I did reading this, so I think I'm gonna let it go. The next book I'm getting rid of is a YouTuber book, but it's for totally different reasons. It's I Hate My Selfie by Shane Dawson. I fucking hated this book. Okay, so I love Shane Dawson. And by that I mean I love current Shane Dawson. Pre-2016 Shane Dawson, a trash human, and he acknowledges that he was a trash human and that he made fun of things that shouldn't have been made fun of. I feel like this is trying really hard to be like 2008 era Shane Dawson, just like too raunchy for its own good, not funny, really forceful in its humor, and just really just disgusting. I don't plan on reading his other book. Yeah, so I didn't like it. His content has felt so much more authentic now than it ever has, and that's why I'm getting rid of this book. I didn't like it. I feel like it symbolizes an era of Shane's past that I don't care for, and it feels disingenuous. I feel like his manager or whatever was just like, yeah, every other YouTuber is writing a book, so you need to write a book, and Shane was like, fuck, I gotta write a book? This just felt disingenuous. I didn't like it very much, and I don't want it anymore. The next one is Self-Help by Miranda Sings. I just don't plan on rereading this. I haven't flipped through it since I read it, which took a whole of like 30 minutes. I love Colleen. Ballinger. I love Miranda Sings. I think that she's fun. I think that Colleen is phenomenal and she's a fucking genius. I just don't want to keep this anymore. And that's fine. The next one is Grace's Guide, The Art of Pretending to be a Grown-Up by Grace Helbig. This was fun to read. Just the same thing as the other ones. I just really have no intention of rereading this book. And that's okay. I enjoyed it when I did read it. I just don't ever plan on rereading it. I'm also getting rid of My Drunk Kitchen and Nerdy Nummies. These are just cookbooks. I just don't need these. I don't need them. Am I gonna bake anything in here? Probably fucking not. Am I gonna make anything in here? Probably fucking not. I have another cookbook. This is the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. I just don't plan on really looking through this. Like, I flipped through it. I thought some of the stuff seemed fun, but I don't plan on making any of the stuff that's in here. Just doesn't sound like it's gonna be my jam. So I'm going to part with this, and hopefully it gets in the hands of someone else who would much rather enjoy it. We're done with YouTuber books, but now we've got celebrity books. I have Bossy Pants by Tina Fey and Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. This one was okay. I think Tina Fey is fucking hilarious. I think that she's an amazing writer. I think that she's just great, and I love this book. It was delightful to read, and she's just fun, and I love reading things in her voice. I just don't plan on rereading it. This was okay. It was less about her life and more about, like, it's more about her, like, professional life. There's a little bit about, you know, herself and things that she's been through, but it all kind of reads like a self-help book almost. Like, she starts to just give advice, and if I wanted advice from Amy Poehler, I would just, you know, not want advice from Amy Poehler. I just don't plan on rereading this, and I don't really think that I need it, and so I'm getting rid of it. I have the first two books in the Spiderwick Chronicles by Tony Dieterlizzi and Holly Black. Book 1, The Field Guide, and Book 2, The Seeing Stone. It's like one of my favorite middle grade series, don't get me wrong. I don't feel the need to have just the first two books in this series on my shelf anymore because I don't plan on rereading these. Next I have Black Butterfly. This is by Robert M. Drake, or R.M. Drake. He goes by both. This is a poetry collection. It's fine. That's just how I feel about R.M. Drake, is I feel like he tries too hard to be super deep, but he doesn't do it in the R.H. Sin style where his poems are too short and his books are too long. Like, his books are moderately sized, but his poems feel like too forced, although I do really like the aesthetics of his books. I do like it, but not enough to keep it or buy anything else of his, because I feel like his poetry will start to just feel regurgitated, as most modern poets do. And the next one is Speak. This is by Laurie Halse Anderson. I read this for the first time when I was a freshman in high school, and I reread it 2 years ago. It was one of my favorite books that I was required to read in high school, and then I reread it after I was assaulted, and it was something that I needed to read in order to feel, like, seen almost. And as weird as that sounds, like, it didn't trigger me in any way when I reread it, though I think it has the potential to be triggering. So if you don't know, this book does have a, like, trigger warning for sexual assault. I think it's a great book, and I think it's necessary, and it definitely was supportive for me to read when I was experiencing something and wanted to connect with someone else, because I felt really alienated and alone and a lot of other things. I'm at a point in my life where I've recognized that the things that happened to me have happened. They're not my fault, and I get to move forward, not necessarily like forgetting about it or pretending it never happened, but letting it be what it is, letting it be something that happened and not letting it be something that I am. I feel like unhauling this book is going to support me in that as well, because I don't need to continually revisit things that are reflective of experiences and traumas that I've been through. So I'm getting rid of it. Next is It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I read this years ago because it has mental health rep. I genuinely couldn't tell you if it's good mental health rep because I read it when I was like 16, And did I really know what good mental health rep looked like? I believe there's like a trans character in here that's treated poorly. From what I remember, there are like quite a bit of problematic elements, and I'm saying from what I remember because I don't plan on rereading this. I don't really have the need for it. I liked it when I was 16 and a less critical reader, but I'm much more critical of books in general, but especially my books that have mental illness representation, and this isn't one that I plan on revisiting. Next, I have The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. I read this 4 years ago and gave it 3 stars. I don't think I'm gonna reread it, and I don't think my mind is gonna change on it. Next, I have Let It Snow. This is by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I have tried reading this every Christmas. I have tried reading it every winter season for the past like 3 years, and I can't get fucking into it. I fucking can't get past like the first like 15 pages of the first story. I don't care to have this. I bought it because obviously John Green. I was like every other like white girl, young adult, contemporary reader when I was a teenager, which is to say like I was pretty much just sucking John Green's dick. And so I bought like everything that John Green ever did ever, and like I still love John Green and what he's written, but I don't care enough to like have to have every book by John Green just because John Green's fucking name is on it, because I don't care. I don't care. Bye. Next I have If I Stay and Where She Went by Gail Foreman. You know, classic staples in 2007 young adult. Just don't want to have them anymore. I don't plan on rereading them. I bought this, like I haven't read this. I bought it with the intention of rereading this because I was like, I'm gonna read some of my favorite young adult staples, but I don't fucking want to. I don't want to read a book about a girl that gets into a car accident because I have panic attacks riding in a car, let alone like reading about someone being in a car accident. Like I can't fucking do it to myself because I know it'll make me anxious. Because hearing people talk about car accidents makes me exceptionally anxious, and I feel like reading about a car accident again would make me super anxious, and I'm not gonna do it to myself. In 2019, I am choosing my mental health over reading popular books. The last book that I'm getting rid of is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I liked this book okay. I think I gave it like 3.5 out of 5 stars or maybe 4 stars. This has just been like my least favorite thing of hers. Of the 2 books I've read by her. I've read this and I've read Cinder. This is my least favorite of everything I've ever read by her. Morgan, you've only read 2 books. This is the least favorite of everything you've ever read by her. What? Yeah, I don't plan on rereading it. I gotta take out all these tabs though, probably, right? I don't really feel any sort of need to have it on my shelves. That's all of them. That was 28 books that I'm saying goodbye to. I feel like 10 pounds lighter. Well, this is probably 10 pounds worth of books. So let me know if you get rid of any book, if you like do a mass decluttering of your bookshelves at the beginning of the year. Let me know if I like made a grave mistake getting rid of any of these books. I'm still getting rid of all of them. Can't change my mind. And if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up if you'd like. I'm not your boss. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You are the sole uncontested author of your own life, and I want you to do whatever your heart desires. If that includes liking this video, commenting, or subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more of my things. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy reading, and I will see you in my next video.